and what you're gonna hear is the music. So we're gonna be quiet. The Bible says death and life are in the power of the tongue. So if I speak from my heart, I'll have what I say. I am healed and not sick. I am rich and not poor. I am strong and not weak. I'm victorious and glorious. I am beautiful. I am holy. I am righteous. I have favor on indeed. Because God lives in me. I am here and not here. Good evening, and welcome to Around the Table. I am your host. I am Vision Coach Alicia, and you are listening to original music by Lorraine Barr. Because God lives in me. Listen, the month of August, we will be doing double interviews at 5 p.m. and 8 p.m. And so if you've written a book, if you know someone who has a book and would like to come on our show, have them inbox me and we will book them. We are doing 5 p.m. and 8 p.m. the entire month of August. We would love to have you around the table. Good evening, Sarah, and welcome. Share the broadcast out. We are so happy to have you with us tonight as we get ready to sit around the table. Yes. Good evening. I am Alicia, and I am your host this evening at Around the Table with my guest, caregiver coach Angela. And we are so excited that you have taken out your time to come and be with us tonight. Guess what? TGIF. Thank God it's Friday, because every Friday night we get to come and sit with you around the table. Listen, you were listening to original music by Lorraine Barr, who is our sponsor, Lorraine Barr International. Lorraine and her team at Lorraine Barr International, if you would look at the screen, you will see the awesome things that they do for people within our community. They help you. If you have a situation dealing with cancer, they are there to help you. They help with specialty bras. They help with wigs. They help with breathing machines. They help with doctor's visits and second opinions. So we invite you to visit Lorraine Barr International, Lorraine Barr International. Also, we would love if you could support our guests by sending a donation of any size count. Send it please to Lorraine Barr at Cash App $ Lorraine Barr 1, or you can go to the website Lorraine Barr International and make your donation. But tonight, welcome, welcome, welcome to another live of Around the Table, where I am here, your host Alicia, with caregiver amazing Angela Tate, and we are going to get started tonight. Hi, Angela, welcome.
Hello, 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 everyone. Happy Friday.
Yeah. And how you're doing on this Friday night?
I am amazing. I am happy to be here. So I was excited, but I knew it was Friday and I can get through this. And so we're going to make it through this tonight.
We're gonna
And
make it.
yes, ma'am. We're not going to have no distractions. So we got
None.
this. Yeah.
None whatsoever. It is just so awesome for you to take the time out to come and sit around the table with me. I'm excited every Friday night when my guest says yes. I don't take it lightly, because I remember around this time, we would be getting ready, getting dressed, because we're getting ready to go somewhere and party. But now that
Yes.
we have the Spirit of God in us, we make different decisions of how we're going to party. So, but tonight we're going to have a party over here with our caregiver coach, Angela Amazing Tate. Angela, I never do bios because I always like my guests to let the people know who they are. So I am going to take a few minutes, let the audience know who you are and what you would like them to know about you.
Okay, well, I am Angela Amazing Tate, and that is truly my name legally, because someone asked me that right before we got on the show. And I am the caregivers coach. So when I say the caregivers coach, I help Christian professional caregiver women with avoiding unhealthy boundaries for families and patients through self care, time management, and setting life balance goals while caring for others.
That is awesome. You just said a whole mouthful
I
in just
did.
introducing yourself as a caregiver coach. Your focus is to help caregivers understand that they need to take care of themselves. That's what you said, correct?
That's correct. That's
Wow.
correct. And I'm also an entrepreneur. So I could not leave that out. So, yes, this is my fourth book. So, yes,
Yes.
entrepreneur. Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. Well, Angela, that is amazing for me because at this stage of my life, I am a caregiver to my mom. And I remember when we first met and you said a few things to me, it was so needed at that time.
Yes,
And
yes.
I took your advice of what you said, and I understand that self-care does come first in order to take care of others. So as we get in tonight, you've written 4 books, you said, right?
Yes,
But
ma'am.
tonight we're going to focus on one of your books, and I am just ready to get some information about this book, because when I read the title of this book, Mind Over Mental Health, and as we look at what's going on in our society today, there's so much going on with our mental health, and we
Yes, yes.
need help. So, Angela, just give me some information. How did you come up with the name and the title of the book, and what made you want to write this book?
So it's a collaboration book that I did with 6 dynamic, amazing God-fearing women. So I was
Okay.
number 7.
Mm-hmm.
And in the group, all of them are entrepreneurs, they're CEOs, business women, and they're all the women of God. So I wanted to get on this project. As soon as Taria said, I'm doing something on mental health, I said, I'm in. And I wanted to write this book or be a part of this book project because mental illness runs in our family. So, because mental illness runs in our family, and it runs a little bit closer for me because my son has a few diagnoses along with some other diagnoses. And
Okay.
so it was personal for me. I said, listen, I want to share my experiences with people, because there is a stigma over once you hear the diagnosis of, mental illness. And so I wanted to share my journey, and again, this I see it in so many different ways because it ran through the family. So I got to see the aunts, the cousins, and then when it hit my home, I was like, oh my gosh. So that
Wow.
was why I decided to be a part of the project.
Yes. Awesome. And you said it was you and six other women, and you were number seven.
That's
So,
correct.
so you completed it. Come on.
Yes, because seven is
Yeah.
the number of
Of
completion. Let's get it. You think
completion.
I didn't know that?
Yes. Come on. Come
Come
on.
on, I know.
Yes. It is so awesome that as we have grown through the decades and through life, that we have learned to choose words that are not so offensive
Yes.
in different areas of our society. Because I remember when people had mental issues, the first word that they would use to describe them would be the word crazy,
Yes.
you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And when way back when people didn't function what they call normally, they would call them retarded.
Yeah.
And so now as we move forward in society, we are learning how to be so concerned and conscious of what's going on in people's lives. So tell us a little bit of what or how do you describe mental health?
So mental health can go a long way, and I think what happened once the celebrities and all the people, quote unquote, who we thought would never come out and say anything, started saying they're having mental health challenges. That's when the world started taking notice, when it started happening to them and their families. However, for me, when I first understood it, like you said, I was a little girl, and when I heard someone had mental illness, I heard crazy, I heard retarded, I heard all those words. But it was not until, I can honestly tell you, I felt like I've been a caregiver since a little girl because I
Wow.
could remember helping my grandmother, try to get my cousin to the hospital so that she can get some help. And I'd say, well, what's wrong with her brain? Like, why does she need help with her brain? And she'd say,
Yes.
well, she's under attack, is what she would say, under spiritual attack. And so when
Yes.
she would say it, she would go all around. But in the end, it came back to mental illness. Well, for me, mental illness is definitely an imbalance of something in your brain that causes, you to feel a certain way. And so it can be from several things that some people are born with. My son was underdeveloped, and so he
Okay.
was born with severe developmental delay. So with that, his IQ, the first thing they say, he's mildly retarded. I
Okay.
heard the word for the first time in
Wow.
my own home, like my own son.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I thought, oh my God. But then as the diagnosis changed, and then he went to schizophrenia, went to bipolar, every year they're given a different diagnosis. And
Yes.
so I said, you know what? It's merely stopping to understand what's happening here. So I
Yes.
took off my job. I quit my job for 3 months. I was self-employed. I was my own boss. And so I left, my job. And I said, I need to learn more about this mental illness. So I remember taking a free class with NAMI, National Alliance for Mental Illness. And
Okay.
I became a member, and becoming a member, it taught me the different medications, the side effects, triggers, code words that you use to have the EMT come out or the police called, And I remember just being in that space saying, oh my God, this is like I got sentenced with a diagnosis. I got, when I heard it,
Wow.
it was my sentence too. So that was very important for me to elaborate that in my book, because we all had a chapter. And in my chapter, I remember like talking about how once you get that diagnosis, it's like a sentence for everybody who's involved.
Mm,
So
right. Okay. So we're going to discuss a few other things, but I want to ask you right now, how long did it take you to write your part of this book that was a collaboration? How
A
long did
week.
it take you to write?
A week.
A week.
It's
See,
in me.
that is what
It's
I
in
want
me.
people to
It's in me.
understand.
So when it's in you, you don't have to go digging and pulling, because if this is
Yes,
your life experience, this is your journey. I can tell this with my eyes
come
closed.
on.
Whether I spell it right is where the editing come in. But for
Right.
me, I was able to say, okay, I'm ready. Do you need it today? I can get somebody to type it up because I'm not the
Yes.
typer. I'm not that person.
Yes.
But in 2 or 3 days, I'm shipping my stuff. And again, yeah, we need a spell check. Yeah, we needed it edited. Yeah, we needed to proofread. But for the most part, this is my life. So I'm not going to go searching for something that I live every day. That's
That's
not
right.
going to
That's right.
happen.
Good evening. Good evening, Coach Sandra. Good evening, Sarah. Thank you
Hello,
all for joining us.
everyone.
Please share the broadcast. Share the broadcast. Listen, I am sitting around the table tonight on, as I do every Friday night, with someone special. And tonight, my someone special is caregiver Coach Angela Amazing Tate. And we are discussing her book, which is a collaboration, Mind Over Mental Health, a topic and a subject that is so much needed. Angela, what is it specifically that you would like people who order your book, once they've read it, what is it that you would like them to take away from after they've read your book?
Um, I would like them to take away being open minded, educating yourself on unknowledgeable situations or topics that you're not knowledgeable on. I think a lot of people pass judgment, pass their comments, and a lot of people have an opinion for something they've never even researched or experienced or even read. So, because all of the women have such amazing chapters in this book, I think getting the collaboration of different stories and hearing it from people perspective, I want people to walk away with, I feel empowered. I feel a little more clear of my understanding about what I thought mental illness was,
Mm,
because now I can actually email or message or DM or contact some of these people that's in this book, including Angela. And
mm.
if I have any questions, feel free to ask.
Wow. Well, Angela, if that is the case, just tell us right now, if we wanted to get this book, where do we get it?
So right now, you can go to my website, www.coachamazing without the G.com. And I am uploading them on my website so that you can just get them straight from me. I just want to make sure that autograph everybody book,
Yes.
and have a word for them to put in there. And so I made that um, my personal thing, to just make sure I left somebody with something that they can honestly say, I bought her book, but she sent me a message buying this book.
That is great. That they are going to get a message after reading your book. And how much is it?
It's $24.99.
Okay, awesome. I am so excited tonight, you all. I'm sitting here around the table, and my guest is Caregiver Coach, amazing Angela
Yes,
Tate.
yes,
Angela
yes.
Amazing Tate. Let me be
That's
correct.
okay.
As we are discussing her book, Mind Over Mental Health. And so we're going to get back to talking a little bit about her book. But I want to remind you that this is a sponsored show. And if you would visit my sponsor, Lorraine Barr, at www.lorrainebarrinternational.com, I would certainly appreciate it. Let's talk a little bit, because this is often when authors write a book, who was responsible for the publishing and how was it published?
So I am a member of Book Profit with Taria Visionary Avant. And she helped you write a book in 30 days. So let me just tell you, she did my first book. And
Okay.
I had all this anxiety. It took me 2 years. I couldn't get it together because that was the book.
Uh,
And she said, how passionate are you about the stuff you are writing in that book? And I say, I'm very passionate. I mean, I'm tied to it emotionally. I have a lot to say. She said, scrap it. She said, let's start from scratch and then let's get this book going. So I'll
yes.
never forget that. And I can tell you that was the thing that changed my career as a coach, because again,
Okay.
it was so rewarding to learn how, because I sold 200 copies of the verse book, and literally, what I want to say, it was 60 days. Now, some people do way more than that, but I can tell
Yes.
you, I was moving. So just to learn how to leverage your book, or how to get paid, how to up yourself, because you're now looking like the expert in your
Yes.
field, to kind of separate you from everybody else, and to be able to use that on your platforms and different platforms. It powerful. Yeah,
Powerful, and it changes a lot of things.
it
Let's
does.
go to our audience comments. Sarah is someone I think that knows
Yes,
you.
my
She says, I
daughter.
enjoyed working with you on this project. So, hi, Sarah. Thank you for tuning in with us tonight. And we're going to be inviting you, along with Angela, to consider our September anthology to come on the show. We are just so happy to have you. And of course, Coach Sandra, we enjoy you checking in with us tonight. If there's any questions that any of you in the audience that are listening, those of you that are on my Facebook page, those of you that are on my business page, and those of you that are on YouTube, just leave us your comment and or question, and I will get Coach Angela to respond. Listen, I do want to ask you other question. I know that you've written this book. I know that the theme was because you do have a son, but was there a why that you felt you needed to write the book? What was your why?
My why was, now, believe it or not, I just had this conversation with my aunt. And my why was to affirm the broken generational curse in our family. So not
Mm.
only am I'm an author, all three of my children are authors, including my special needs son. So me setting that bar to talk about what the enemy tried to silence us on, what the enemy tried to make us feel shame about, what the enemy tried to make us think was very bad, and a dark cloud over our family. My why was to expose the enemy and let the enemy know he has no authority and no power over our family, and he can't have our family. So I talked about my journey, which allowed my aunt to come clean, and then allowed everybody to start, owning the fact that this is where we are, this is who we are. And it was so empowering. It was so beautiful. I had little cousins calling me saying, cuz we're breaking a generational curse. No, it's already broken.
Wow.
So that was my why. Like, we're not going to be silent. We're not going to be shamed. We are going to say that this is life. This is stuff that happens. So let's take our power back, and that's what I
There you
did. That was
go.
my
Let's
why.
take our power back.
Yes,
Good
yes.
place. At the beginning, when we started to talk, there is something as a coach that we some people call it an elevator speech, but we call it a power statement, because we want to take our power and our authority as
Yes.
we help others. So I'm going to ask you, if you would just repeat for me, what is actually your power statement? Because I want people to really understand, as a caregiver coach, what you are able and what your intent is in helping them. So would you repeat that for me one more time?
Sure. I help I'm sorry. I help Christian women, professional caregivers, with avoid unhealthy boundaries between families and patients, and through self-care, time management, and life balance, creating life balance between work and home, while caring for others.
Yes, that's why I asked you to repeat it, because I wanted you to specifically go to that for caregiving, self care. What was the other one?
So it's self-care,
Mm-hmm.
time management,
Time
and
management.
balance between work life and home.
So,
And
what is
that's so
balance
important.
between work life and home?
Well, as a professional caregiver, let me start with them because I'm talking to my professional caregivers, because there's family caregivers, there's all kinds of caregivers. But what happened, they lose balance because they're working so many hours. They become blurred between the lines, become blurred between their jobs, and then when they go home they're too tired, they're
Mhm.
withdrawal from their families and friends, they're no longer hanging out because they're exhausted, they're doing extra shifts, they're in a space where now they're feeling overwhelmed, and the job they actually signed up to do with compassion and love and they did from their heart, they don't want to do it anymore. So within a
Ooh.
10-year span, they're burnt out, they're overwhelmed, they're exhausted, and they're like, you know what, I don't want to do this. So now they mix the lines because they're not even caring for themselves at the expense of taking care of everybody else. They're skipping their own appointments, they're not doing
My
their own.
goodness.
Okay, okay. And you know, because you're a caregiver, and
Exactly.
Sandra, Sarah is also out there, a caregiver of her mom. So I learned that while we were writing the book. So yeah, so
Yes.
yeah, you,
And
yeah.
and and so often as a caregiver, I have found myself that I have to check my attitude with other
Yes,
people because I get a little, and that's when I know you need to get in the car, take a drive, go do something, go buy yourself an ice cream, whatever, just a moment to get away. So listen, I'm sure as a coach and a caregiver coach, you have what people need. So how is the best way that you're going to get this out to someone? What do you offer? Is there a program that someone could sign up for? What do you do that they can contact you to be able to speak with you?
sure. So I do have a program for my professional caregivers, but I have been being contacted by family caregivers, you know, independent caregivers. And so what I did, I just made sure that I had a list of resources. I was
Okay.
available, but then I also offer the one-on-one coaching. With the
Okay.
one-on-one coaching, that allows even the family caregivers or other caregivers to get in. But I have a signature program for my professional caregivers, which is just a little more in detail. So they all can go to my website,
Mhm.
www.coachamazing, again, without the G.com. And I'm
Mhm.
actually doing some updating next week. That I'll be dropping some new stuff on there. So you'll have the tabs where you can just kind of click and click and click. So I'm
Okay.
proud of that.
Okay.
I'm excited. Yeah.
So you have some things that are immediate that people can get involved in.
Immediately, I have been working on content, and I'm very excited to share that I am in three caregiver groups, communities. So being a
Okay.
part of a community is very important. And I was brought in two of the communities because they saw me, and here I am thinking I'm not visible enough. And yet they
Yes.
saw me and they said, we would love for you to be an addition to the group. So I only go in and I drop nuggets, I drop, positivity, and something very heavy. But I'm in and out. I do what I drop some things. I drop some tips for the day, and I'm back out of there. And I respect all their rules. I respect not pulling in there as a coach and saying, "Hey, come over here and buy my program." But what happens? They come anyway. So I could say today that I just landed a client today. So I was like all over. I had my
Woo!
face. I put on social media like, this is my face when you land a client. You'd be like,
That's awesome.
that was my face.
Congratulations.
I woke up this morning with the
Congratulations.
attitude like, what do you look like when you just got a new client? Like,
Yes,
yeah.
congratulations.
So
That is
so that was
awesome.
cool. Yes.
Yes. Listen, everyone, you are sitting around the table with Vision Coach Alicia, and we're here every Friday evening at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 7 Central Standard Time, and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we invite you to be a guest or be in our audience. So let's go to our audience, Angela, and see what they are saying, if they're asking
Yes.
any questions. And here is Coach Sandra Crubb. She says, I've been on the receiving end of caregiving. What are a few practical things I can do to be a blessing to my caregiver?
Okay, she says she is on the receiving end of the caregivers.
She said, I've been on the receiving end of caregiving, which means somebody's been her caregiver.
Okay,
What are a few practical things I can do to be a blessing to my caregivers?
that's a great question, Sandra. That is so great that you asked that. And one of the things I just, shared with a lady at the pretty much with the same type of question. She said she wanted to bless her professional caregiver that takes care of her son, and what could she do? And I just told her merely one of the things is making sure that you are listening to them. Communication is everything. At some point, it feels like you're no longer listening, and it just becomes, and that may not be your case, but it just becomes so heavy sometimes for them that they lose that um, compassion or that energy that they kind of had, just thinking you're not hearing them when they say they need to take some time off or they need to, so kind of just making sure you're communicating properly with them is one of my biggest number one takeaways, and that really helps them because they want to know that you're in tune to what's going on with them as well as they're serving you. So that's
Yeah.
one of my biggest. The second thing is just making sure that whatever their job description is, that was in the contract when they started, that if you see something needs to be added or something needs to be changed, then make sure that you properly say, hey, I would like to schedule something with the agency or schedule something with you so that we can talk about going over some changes. But don't implement just pushing stuff on them and then say, because, I bought you some flowers, because that happens too. People
Yes.
want to, be gracious and give gifts to them, but then they feel like their space has been invaded or something because now you're expecting me to do more. You're expecting me to do
Wow.
things. And that may not be
Mm.
your case again, but I
Intent.
wanted to put
Okay.
that out there because
Yeah.
you may mean so much good, but then they probably came from another patient before you. So when you offer them something and say, I just want to
Mhm.
be there for you, I just want to help, they're a little withdrawal, they're a little standoffish because they're not
Yes.
sure how to receive that. So that's another one. So and my third one, my biggest because I have a caregiver that comes for my son as well. Um, just asking her, is there anything that she would like to see in me as the person that she's caring for, which is my son? Like, is there anything that we could do differently to help your job
To be.
be better? And
Yes.
asking them that, you would not believe that makes all the difference in the world. So just, putting that out. And it goes back to the conversation again, being able to have a healthy conversation because that creates the boundaries that we talked about earlier, and I talked
Yes.
about setting healthy boundaries. And
Hmm.
I did something the other day with the disadvantages and the advantages of healthy boundaries and unhealthy boundaries. So I
Yeah.
hope that answered your question, Coach
She said
Sandra.
that that was amazing, makes sense. Love the feedback. Let me ask you, as an author, and in writing this book, as you were writing this book yourself, what did it actually do for you?
Um, so it actually ministered to my soul because I can remember like not being able to put everything in the book because it was only a chapter and we were, limited to so many words. But it brought back some old emotions. It brought back some old feelings, things when I first, had to go back. So I needed to revisit some things and Coach Sandra, the forgiveness coach, is on here. So I need
Yes.
to go back and make sure I forgave myself for some things that I kind of buried and forgot about until I started writing this book. So being in a coaching community with so many amazing coaches, and just being on when Coach Sandra, the forgiveness coach, did her broadcast with you on this platform, it helped me go back and kind of just put some pieces to closure, and I was
Wow.
very grateful for that. So it did touch my soul. It was something that was needed. I think being in the Chase Great certified niche program, it has really truly helped me work on myself, you know, as I'm coaching. And
Yeah.
I was able to break free of some things that I thought I was over. So
Wow.
past that hurdle, honey. I'm
I
back. I'm
know.
back. So
Ooh,
yeah, I'm back. Yeah,
yes. Hey, it's Friday night. Thank
yes,
God
it
it's Friday,
is.
and we are here around the table with caregiver coach Angela Amazing Tate. And we're having an amazing conversation based on her book that she wrote. I would like you to share this program out so that we can, because mental health is a subject that I think that is kind of taboo, that people don't understand, and they stay away from it because there's some things that they don't want to face in it. I do want to address one more question from our audience that I saw, and I'm going to post this question so that we can address it. It says, I know this is a tough question. Does the book address the difficulty of getting adults with mental illness help they need when they refuse to remain on their medication? They are not safe because they are making decisions when they are not at their best thinking. That is a loaded but excellent question. How do you respond to that, Miss
Can you hear me? I think you froze, Coach Alicia. So I don't know if to just go ahead and answer to wait till she come back. Hmm. Well, maybe I should answer. Okay. So the show must go on. So maybe I can just go ahead and answer it. I'm not sure how that works. If she just froze. Can everyone hear me or no one can hear me? If you can hear me, put a thumbs up. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and answer that question. It's not tough at all. I deal with it all the time. My son is an adult now. It has been times he's refused the medication. Um, and he's not safe making the decisions. But I'm going to tell you something very powerful that in the African American community that we kind of fall a little bit short on when it comes to the mental illness. I have adult conservatorship and guardianship over my son. So I get to make the decision. So if I need to have him hospitalized because I see him not on his medication, or him being erratic, or him just, erratic, and, I just see things that are not looking right. I have power of attorney. I have all these things that I did before he turned 18. Do we know that? No, most of the time we do not. So what happens is once they become an adult at 21, you are not able to make the decisions for them because you did not get that diagnosis or get that paperwork to the right spaces or places so that you can get the guardianship to help them out. And everyone may not even go for it. Maybe they became diagnosed in their 20s, 30s, or 40s. Let's just say they just figured it out and now they're in a space where they don't want to take their medicines. The best thing that you can do as an individual is start looking for signs, looking for support groups, looking for places that you can kind of refer them to, and just kind of softly and I do mean softly, kind of make it seem like it's their idea, to just kind of say, well, hey, well, maybe you can go to this day program, or maybe you can go to this little group, because they'll get really, you know, I want to say they'll get really angry that you're bringing to their attention that they're not taking their meds or they're not doing something. And it can go a lot of ways. So I think the more you educate yourself, or the more the support team educate their self. Oh, close the router. Sorry. So the more they educate themselves, the better off you'll be for your loved one. And I hope that kind of answered it, because I did put some stuff in my chapter. I did put where you can go to get some added information. Oh, hi,
Mm.
you back?
Yes, I'm back. I don't know what happened,
Honey,
but
I talked
I
my way through
am
the whole
back.
thing, but I can do it
But
again.
thank you so much for carrying on and
Show
moving
must
on.
go on. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, that is how we do it. We support each other, and
Yes,
you
yes.
kept on going. Now, would you read an excerpt of your book for
Sure,
us?
if you give me 1 second to pull it up, because
Okay.
my shipment did not come in yesterday, and I shipped
Okay.
off my last book thinking it would come in, but it's okay. Um,
Okay.
and I just wanted to, let me see, I found one that's kind of almost to the question that was asked. So give me 1 second.
Hi, Brittany. How you doing? Thank you for joining us on
Hello, Miss
Around the
Brittany.
Table. We are so excited to have you tonight. Sarah, thank you for sticking with us tonight. I am just so excited on Friday nights that we can get to sit
Oh,
around the table
cool.
as coaches, as authors, or as entrepreneurs. If you're interested in joining us and being on the show, please DM me, inbox me, and I will tell you how you can do it. Um, it is always a pleasure to have these exciting topics, because this particular topic, I just learned so much tonight. Sometimes you don't know all that you should about certain things, but I am definitely learning a lot tonight. So, in the meantime, are
Okay,
you
so
ready?
yeah, I'm pulling it up
Okay,
now. Give me one
let's
second.
hear from Coach.
Okay, give me, I'm importing it. We were determined we weren't going to let nothing stop us.
Stop us.
So yeah,
Yes.
we are owning it. Okay. So this is a little insert that I wanted to read from my chapter of the mental health book. Here we go. The question was asked in the book. It says, how has battling mental illness affected you or your loved one? And I said, when dealing with someone in your family with mental illness, in the beginning, you have no idea what's about to happen. You don't understand what the road of life in ahead of you looks like. Mental illness often become not just the diagnosis of the family member, but it becomes the diagnosis of the entire family. The day the doctors gave me the diagnosis for my son, I could not breathe. My family life changed along with my relationships, my work life, and everything that I thought was based upon my happiness. It was no longer the same because I was overreacting, but I was feeling like I was diagnosed as well. I wanted to give up on my son. I wanted to give up on myself. And I was dealing with so much that I felt like I was losing, not to
Mm.
realize that I was gaining it all. So that was a little short paragraph.
Wow.
And it goes on and on because it talks about the next paragraph, the emotional instability of my kids, my older two kids, that things changed for them as well. So it was a journey. And my son is now 21 and a half. almost 22, and it's been life changing. But when, even for caregivers, when you get that diagnosis that you're caring for someone, let's talk about COVID really quickly. COVID came and you were a nurse, you were a hairstylist, you were a real estate agent, and then you became a caregiver. And
Yes.
so now you're
Yes.
like, I can't do this. What am I going to do? I can't breathe. This is not my, I didn't sign up for this. So now what do you do when it becomes your sentence too? You stop, you assess the situation, you take a deep breath, and you breathe. And then you know to call on your Father for instruction.
Come on.
And after you call on your Father, He will start sending you to the resources, to the left, the right, the south, the north, and He will make provisions for you. And
That's
it took
right.
me almost 5 to 6 years before I figured that out, because I had not stopped to get on my knees and call on my Father for help, because I was leaning to my own understanding. Let's talk about it.
Yes.
We are
Yes.
in a place where, let's talk about it today.
Yes.
So I was in a place of leaning to my own
Um,
understanding, and I became my own God. And He said,
yes.
I'll wait. I'll wait. Go ahead. I'll wait.
You
He
cannot
said,
separate the two.
okay. And when He came and brought the clarity, and He brought the therapist, the social worker, the psychiatrist, the school, I was no longer in bondage of shame. So I started pulling up everywhere saying, I need help.
Hallelujah. Yes.
I need help.
Mm,
It's okay to ask for help.
ask for help. Wow. Well, listen, caregiver coach Angela, amazing. This was truly an
Thank
amazing
you.
night. One of the comments is that I think Coach Sandra, whom we know, said it. She said, "Thank you, Coach Alicia, for providing the space for us to glean and
Yes.
learn. Believe it or not, I have also been gleaming and learning from each person that comes on here, whether you are an author, whether
Yes.
you are a coach, or whether you're an entrepreneur. I'm always open to what am I going to learn that Friday night. And we have got to completely be dependent on our Father Daddy to
Yes. Come
give
on.
us
El
the
Shaddai.
insight to
Come
what
on.
it is that we need. You know, very because I know this space is needed, I continue, because believe it or not, the challenges with the broadcast have made me like, why am I doing this? And then
Yes.
I realized it's not always going to be like this. So I can't give up. I have to keep moving, because there is somebody out there that needs to hear what my guest is going to say, what that
Amen.
book is going to do. I realize that I have had people on here who have written books about marriages. There are people who have
Yes.
written books about finances. There are people who have written books about triumphs and forgiveness, and just the conversations is all worth it. So when things don't go right, I have learned to do like you had to learn. Father, I trust you. You told me to do this, so I'm going to keep doing it until you show me how to make it better. So
Amen.
tonight, those of you that have been in our audience, thank you so much for joining in. And coach, I am going to give you a few moments to address and say whatever it is that you would like to say to our listening audience before we leave them tonight. But remember, we are here every Friday night, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Around the Table. And I am your vision coach, Alicia.
So I just want to say thank you all for being an active participant in the audience. Thank y'all for showing up. This has truly been amazing, but I got a special treat for somebody. I have 3 books I want to give away tonight. And the first 3 people that drop in the comments, if you can remember, is 3 things that I said I did as a caregiver coach. And I want you to be able to drop 3 things. And if you can only get close to 2, that I said I do as a caregiver coach with my power statement, then you will get this book. You will send me your information. I will seek you out after this broadcast and make sure your book is delivered with a message in it. I'm excited about that. And I will be doing a donation to our sponsor for making room for us. So I am so grateful again. And I just want to say again, get the knowledge. If you don't understand something, we have all types of ways to Google or information out there. But please do not walk around with a closed mind and not understand that it's bigger than you. So that's all I wanted to say. And follow me at www.coachamazing.com.
Come
Bye
on,
bye.
drop those three things that she said. Let's see who
Yeah.
can do this. Go. Come on. What did she say in her power
Woo.
statement, or the three things that she does? Ta-na-na-na,
Three
ta-na-na-na.
things. Woo.
If you can only do two, do two. Do
We'll
you
take two.
remember?
We'll take two.
Oh, come
We just
on.
happy to have you here. But I'm
Yes,
excited to share that book. I do apologize for not having my book with me tonight, but
that
we
is
may do.
okay.
We may do. Yeah.
You help caregivers balance in their life and self. Yeah, Coach Sandra,
All
you're
right.
a
I knew it
winner.
was gonna
We
be
have
Coach
a
Sandra.
winner. We have a winner.
I
Listen,
receive it.
everyone,
Thank you, Coach
please
Sandra.
join me on Facebook Live for about 5 minutes for the Around the Table after show, which I will do immediately following this broadcast. Coach, thank you so much for being my very special
Thank
guest
you
and
for
sharing with us.
having
Please
me.
don't forget this book. I am sure that it will help you even if you are not a caregiver. It's called Mind Over Mental Health. It'll help you have the knowledge and understanding of what people with mental health go through. So again, the book is $24 and you can get it on, will you repeat the website?
www.coachamazing without the G.com.
Great. So we are so excited. Go on and do whatever it is you plan to do for the rest of your night. Enjoy
And have
yourself
an
and invite
amazing
someone
night. When you're
next
looking in the
week
mirror,
to come and join us around the table where I will be interviewing other very special guests. God bless you.
bye bye. Thank you, Coach Alicia.
Thank you for being my guest.
So if I speak from my heart, all I want I say, I am healed and not sick. I am rich and not poor. I am strong and not weak. I'm victorious and glorious. I am beautiful. I am holy. I am righteous. I have favor on me because God lives in me. I am dead and not killed. I am a son and a wonder. I am blessed and anointed because God is in me. I am holy. I am holy. I am holy. people.